Hello, Animarth, and welcome to your deck review. I've read your primer, which says I don't need to win every game. I'd just like to put up a fight. And we're doing Y'shtola Legends, which was, I think, one of the things they did in the Y'shtola Precon, but not very well at all. But apparently just enough that it sparked your love of cat girls and their retinue of named followers. So let's see what you did. I see +1/+1 counters. I see Reanimator. I see Legends Matter. I think, quite frankly, this is going to be a little tough. I don't think it's impossible, especially for bracket 2 or bracket 3. Basically, nothing's impossible in bracket 2 and bracket 3. All right, I see adds lifelink. I see cares about life gain, no damage combo. These are not legendary, so I'd probably kill them with a hammer. I see basically no ramp, which I think is probably a mistake. We'll talk more about that later. Distribute +1/+1 counters. I like that. I was going to call into question, what part of Y'shtola's text box are we annoying or ignoring? And it looks like we are ignoring the non-creature spell thing. So we don't care about pinging people for 2 most of the time. Maybe you have a few things, but it looks like for the most part we're saying at the beginning of each end step, somebody who's not me is going to have lost 4 life because I have hit you very hard. Therefore, I will get my card. And then it looks a little bit like maybe we have a few things that can trigger Y'shtola such that we can get life gain, so that maybe like Archangel of Thune can spread some counters around. That all makes sense. Wow, that's a really bad card. Listen, be so real with you. I love it when people take a deck in a non-standard direction, and I think that's what you've done here, which means I'm gonna be super strict and rude about everything that is not legendary, because I'm like, everything that is legendary is probably pretty bad, or I shouldn't say pretty bad. Mikaeus the Lunarch, not a very bad card. Ardbert, not a very bad card. Aerith Gainsborough, not a bad card. What I should say is Y'shtola as a commander barely, if at all, cares about these cards. And if we want that to be the heart and soul of the deck, I think we can make that work. It is going to require us to be incredibly focused on everything that is not legendary. It means like, if we're like, oh, my deck has a silly and hard to put together theme, that doesn't mean we're goofy all over the place. It means we need to be like buttoned up IRS agents everywhere else in the deck to make room for these legendaries that don't fit in super well. So we have recursion based on life gain. We have more life gain. We have more life gain. We have lifelink, give lifelink. Lifelink, give lifelink. Give lifelink. All right, so we're trying to do life gain. I have a lot of doubts about this. Maybe we can make it work, but the reason I have doubts about this is normally to make a life gain strategy work, what we're looking for is a guaranteed repetitive way to gain life. If you're a creature heavy deck, that is usually a Soul Warden type of effect. If you're Y'shtola, that would normally be through casting big meaty non-creature spells, but we only have 3 things under ramp. It looks like we have a lot of creatures, which makes me doubt that we're going to have the concentration of meaty non-creatures to make this happen. We have, okay, we have 2 board wipes. We have a piece of graveyard hate, and then we have 3 pieces. Oh, this is another board wipe. I really don't like what must be done. We'll talk more about that in general, but both of your board wipes, like at this point in Magic's history, you can run effectively one-sided board wipes, whatever you're doing, right? Like you, like we could run. There's a battle that does this. Type battle, mana value 6, color black. Invasion of Fiora. It lets other people keep their commanders, which does kind of suck, but you can go Invasion of Fiora, blow up everything that's not legendary. This is a non-creature spell that will trigger Y'shtola, will gain you life. It will flip into a legendary creature when you kill it, so that you can care about legendary creatures. I just don't I do not think a deck like yours that wants to play a lot of creatures should ever be considering I'm just gonna flat wipe the board. If you are a very, very creature sparse deck, like you want to play your commander and maybe one other creature the whole game, then I can maybe get behind like board wipe, board wipe, board wipe. Um, but even as an in case of emergency board wipe, you can always find something that is something that's gonna let you break parity on it. Card draw discard. On ETB we can return a creature to hand. Oh, and then we can discard a legendary to draw two. That's that's tough. Because here's the thing, right? This is really cute, and even when you do the thing, it's really bad. This is a 3 mana go up one card. Maybe we can make a recursion plan work around that. Sure, legendary looting that we can maybe do multiple times a turn. Cares about counters. Yeah, see, I'm not loving this guy because again, not legendary, very expensive, is a creature spell. We're doing the Ozolith. Like I think this should be protection. Like we're trying to move stuff around. We need to be I'm seeing what looks like too much too many game actions for the sake of game actions and not enough this game action puts damage on the table. Like resourceful defense is like game action in for the sake of game actions. It's intending to kind of protect me. Have we seen any just like actual protect me spells? I see tutors, I see recursion. So here's my removal protection. I mean, that's not really true. Okay, Linval is true for sure. Ratajabric's true. Sack Fair a little bit, yeah. Oh wait, Boromir has the instant speed sack. Okay, so we have a little bit. I do think we probably need more, but we'll see. Cares about legendary. Sure. I mean, precog's not that bad. Gosh, Heroes Podium is very, very greedy. It could work out if we play an awful lot of creatures, but I don't think we have the ramp to play an awful lot of creatures. I think, like, best case scenario, we're playing one creature a turn. Infinite damage combo. Okay. I was chilling up until Walking Ballista. The fact that we have Walking Ballista, it is not that I hate infinites just because they're infinite. A 5-card infinite combo is so many cards to get it going that like 100%, or maybe you don't need all 5, right? Because if you just go Heliod Walking Ballista is just like a 2-card infinite actually. Yeah, okay. So the fact that we're including this level of infinite betrays to me that we don't have confidence in the deck's ability to deal damage. And I think if we fix the inability of your deck to deal damage, then you get to a point where you no longer feel like you have to run Walking Ballista. Incidental life gain, sure. We have some tutors. I don't love Animate Dead here. I don't love Chthonian Nightmare. I don't love Invoke Justice. I am okay with Reanimate. Savine's Reclamation is not the worst. What Must Be Done I also don't love. If we are reanimating in Commander, my general rule is you need it to be incredibly mana efficient, like Reanimate, or we need it to get me a shitload of stuff. Oh, it's Behold. Sorry. Like this is the level of thing that I want to see if I'm reanimating in Commander. I want to see Aberrant Return. You know, You don't have to go all the way into doing Rise of the Dark Realms, but something like this. I either want to spend 1 mana to get the thing. If I'm spending more than like, yeah, if I like maybe Animate Dead, but the other problem we're having is you don't have any one-off bombs, which is also making me even iffy about things like Animate Dead that should be efficient enough, because pretty much everything here is designed to be a synergy piece for another thing. We don't have any legendaries in here that are just like, oh yeah, this is the one that takes over the game and kills you. And we need probably a few of those. We need a few heavy hitters. We can't have it just all be support pieces. So we let this enter tapped. We let this enter tapped. We do this. We can play the Destined White Mage, try to de-incentivize people from attacking us. We miss our land drop, which is devastatingly bad. But we can play Boromir out of our hands, so we're not discarding the hand size. Turn 5, we get to play our commander. Get to play a legendary land. Would we have the mana to... We would have the mana. So I think first we would Fell at our retreat. We would play our legendary land. We would choose the mode, give me counters on everything. I would tap, give Y'shtola lifelink, send her to hopefully somebody we can hit. We gain life. We put a counter on probably Y'shtola. Nobody's lost 4 life. Maybe it happens off our turn, so I'll give you 1 card for free. And then we can do Lae'zel, and then we can play a land, and then, hey, look at that. We get to put 2 +1/+1 counters on everything. Isn't that sweet? We can search for an equipment. I can't think of an equipment we desperately need. And then we can, like, board wipe insurance. I'll play Ratadrabik. I'll give one of these guys lifelink, swing. I'll get this, and I'll put 2 counters on my commander again, a massive commander, building up a Voltron threat. Now, notably, we don't really have any interaction, right? We have Damn, a sorcery speed removal spell. We don't want to use it as a board wipe because we're committing creatures to board. We have this Recursion piece, which it can hit any of these guys, which I don't hate. But we have to sacrifice a different creature, and we're not going wide on tokens. I mean, maybe we could have chosen to make a 2/2. Oh, we have Ratadrabik. Sacking a creature is not that bad. Okay. I worry about this. In the situation we're in, it's okay, but if we don't have access to a token maker and we don't have access to Ratadrabik, I don't believe that we're okay with sacrificing any of these guys to get another guy back when we're sleeping on, like... We just do this. I feel like you're valuing this more because you can reuse it, and I don't think you should do that. I think you should value, like, extremely efficient or gets me a ton of things but costs a lot of money. Like, if you're like, oh man, I really want to do Chthonian Nightmare because I can reuse it, at that point, like, just put the Virtue of Persistence in the bag and hope nobody does anything. Put the legendary that does this in the bag. The Whispering one. Just let it rip. So I think Unearth is probably better. This is ridiculous. This does nothing for you. This is the legendary I'll be mean to. This is so we make people discard a card. We can make people mill, but we're not playing enough legendary creatures that I think lose 1 is a meaningful difference. And what I want to draw your attention to, the things that are going well in this playtest, is counters from +1, or damage from +1/+1 counters. If we are drawing cards off our commander, it is not because of that second ability. It is only because we have hit you with a really, really wide board. So I want to get into your head that I I don't think you actually care about legendaries. I think you care about legendaries, and I think you have a lot of legendaries, but I think what your deck cares about once it gets on the field is having a lot of +1/+1 counters. So what you should probably do is look at legendaries who synergize or can give you +1/+1 counters. And oh my god, it is a Mauled deck review, and it's a deck that cares about combat, and they care about curving out early. Here comes Vampire Mommy. I always recommend this card, but it is a legendary. It cares about going to combat. It will put power and toughness counters on everything you control. It is great. There is also this guy who is now a legendary who gains you life, who put counters on himself when he gains you life. There's Leonardo's Technique if you really want to do something that's like cute, but I don't think you need to run this. So let's do, I think the O tag for gives PP counters, commander, what's this, Esper, and then type legendary. Let's see what we have here. 114 cards. We have Heliod already. You could do Tarion Soul Cleaver. I know you do tend to care more about legendary creatures than not. Fuck, man. Elspeth would be really good, even if you never use the token mode. Having a legendary non-creature spell. So this will trigger Y'shtola, which will gain you life immediately, which will trigger all of your cares about life gain stuff. You can then put counters on everything and give them flying, so you can swing. You can also use it as removal in a pinch. Agatha's Soul Cauldron would be very good. You could spread activated abilities. You're putting +1/+1 counters on everything anyway. You can use it as graveyard hate. You can use it to grow the board that you do have if you don't have a way to recur stuff. You have Brina already. I believe you have Andoril already. I believe you have Thane. You could almost certainly benefit from using Shadrix. I do want to double check that you don't have Shadrix already, because I know a number of these I just scrolled past quick style. I don't see him in distribute +1/+1 counters, so I'm going to assume that he's not in here. God, AO the Dawn Sky would also be quite good. I don't love Nils. Don't think we need a Johnny. We're certainly not doing birds. Dion's really cute. I don't think I can get away with selling you on how incredibly good Dion is, but he's very cute. This is artifact creatures only. This cares about non-legendaries. You have Ardbert. Oh my god, a legendary Soul Warden. I think if you want to care about life gain as a way to be spreading around power and toughness, definitely get Aunt May in. She'll probably die, but that's normal. Colonel Autumn is interesting. I do not think it works in the deck as you currently have it, but if you wanted to lean into a really recursion heavy theme, you could do something with Colonel Autumn. I think you would need more token makers, or you would need way more recursion engines. Yeah, we have this one already. That's extremely whatever. Erdnan's actually kind of crazy. This is another legendary ETB. Give me a counter. Whenever we attack, one of my attacking creatures gets first strike. or more likely gets double strike, which is a very devastating, like, I'm gonna win, I'm winning combat now. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think overall my recommendations are gonna be, um, I think you need a clearer internal picture of what your deck is about. And right now you think it is about legendaries and you think it is about recurring cheap creatures, and I think it is about hitting people for damage using +1/+1 counters. Now, blessedly, there are a huge number of legendary creatures and other legendary permanents that care about +1/+1 counters that will just work for this strategy. Um, so one thing you can do is you can just chalk the deck full of all this good stuff, call it a day. I think it'll probably do a little bit better than what the deck's currently doing. The other thing you should consider is if you want Y'shtola to be the leader of this merry band, the avenue you should instead pursue is all of the 2-mana ramp in the game. Or most of the 2-mana ramp in the game. Because what you are doing right now is we are land dropping to Y'shtola. And I do think it can work without ramp, but you need a lot of like really good 2 and 3 drops. Like you need Leonardo, you need Drana, you need Colonel Autumn, you need Aunt May, you need Erden. Because what you want to have happen if you're going to land drop into Y'shtola is we want to land drop into Y'shtola and be extremely confident that on turn 4 we play her, we can swing something else or 2 something else's, and they will do 4 damage and get us our card. If they can't do that, so rather than recommend a specific card, I'm going to recommend you a bar to try to reach. If you can't do that, I would keep tinkering with your 2 and 3 drops until you can do that. And if you just can't do that, or if you don't like what the deck looks like when you do that, I would abandon that, and I would instead have probably 10 to 13 pieces of 2-mana ramp to get me Y'shtola on turn 3, and then curve out into bigger, more devastating legendary, like AO, like the Elspeth, like Shadrix, and then you look for even more of these. Like, what are Y'shtola and her outrageously expensive gaggle of goons? Those are the 2 paths I would follow. I think whichever path you follow, it can work, but I think you got to commit to one of those. Whereas right now, we're kind of all over the place in terms of like, okay, well, here's one that'll give me some counters. Here's one that'll give me a whole heaping lot of counters. Here's a whole heaping lot of counters. Here is a kind of cute one-off card that's just really flexible. Here's a cute card that's legendary. Here is a, synergy device that requires a lot of other things to be going right before it pays off in the way I want. Here's a card that doesn't fit into the deck really at all, other than spreading around 1/1 counters, because we're mostly ignoring the expensive non-creature thing. So I think we got to focus that up and look for, I can get to turn 4, and I can swing Y'shtola, and I either deal 4 damage or gain life and it matters. I think you can widen it up that much. So either the legendaries that I curve out with can deal 4 damage on turn 4, or they can gain life and that benefits me somehow. And from there, I think you'll have a great time. So I hope this was helpful, and I wish you the best of luck.